Morning, all. All right, so July 22nd, the day after expansion, and we're going to discuss what's going on around the league as the trade embargo freeze is over. And so there's no trades announced at the time I'm starting this recording. There's a board full of news, so I'm going to do this first. We're going to see some trades during the day today, and I'll be reporting on them as they come in. So looking forward to that. So we start off with Montreal. So Shea Weber, he is going to miss this upcoming season. And what's being said by Marc Bergevin is his career is probably finished. Now, if it's injury related, you can go on the LTI or you can be there for years. Think like Chris Pronger, Marian Hossa, this kind of thing, right? Now, if he decided to retire, that's where a cap recapture comes in for Nashville. We're not talking about that yet because at the very least, for the next year, he'll be on LTIR. So there's absolutely no point in getting into the whole penalty for Nashville if he retired because Nashville matched that contract that was signed by Philadelphia all those years ago. It's nothing to worry about yet. Just LTIR won't play for this season. Carrie Price. So, again, I'm not trying to throw shade at Montreal, but think about this. So, they didn't want to lose Jake Allen. Carrie Price says, you know what? I'll waive, I'll go out, I'll be the sacrificial lamb as needed. Carrie Price is exposed in the expansion draft. Montreal kind of lets it leak that he's probably going to need knee surgery. He's got problems with his hips, too. Everything's kind of dodgy with Price. He's probably going to be out for a while. He may not be good to go for training camp. Seattle doesn't take Price. They talk about it. They flirted with the idea of taking him and then decided no. Today, now that there's no danger of Seattle, Bergevin says the following. He might be out 6 to 8 weeks. He's banged up. Yeah, he's going in to see a doctor, but we don't think it's going to be anything major. Probably 6 to 8 weeks. Well, it's the off season, so that would mean he's either likely good to go for training camp or he's good to go for opening night. So it's that's how you play a chess game among general managers. And it worked. Montreal loses Cale Fleury, a player that they were capable of overcoming the loss of. There are definitely worse case scenarios if you're Montreal, almost any of them, really. And Jonathan Drouin is expected to be back for training camp and in the lineup next season. So, yeah, for Montreal, things worked out pretty well. The loss of Weber's huge. There was no lies there, but the fact they keep Price, they still have Jake Allen. That works out pretty well for them. Speaking of free agents, free agency, and all this stuff, and players moving around, the Islanders are looking to add both Parise and Suter, which, not a surprise. Lou Lamoriello would like to have both. And honestly, I could see them both signing together. It would make a lot of sense for them to sign together. The Islanders would make some sense as well. They're a team that's been in the Final Four 2 years in a row. Parise and Suter aren't getting younger, so they're going to want to go somewhere that they have a chance to win. I would think the Islanders are in on them. I would think Tampa Bay would make the call too. Tampa Bay won't be able to offer as much money as some of the other teams, but they'd offer that chance at a win, and that's a key thing for players, right? Chance to potentially compete for a Stanley Cup. So yeah, we'll see whether or not the Islanders get it done. That's my guess on their landing spot. Zach Hyman's been talked about a lot today on social media, on Twitter, because word has it that he and the Oilers have agreed on an agreement. He was in Edmonton yesterday, and apparently they've agreed on how this is going to work. But they've agreed on both an 8-year and a 7-year deal, because if he signs as an unrestricted free agent, it's a 7-year deal. If Toronto trades his rights to Edmonton, he can sign the 8-year deal. And word has it, it's 8 years at $5.5 million per season. I like Zach Hyman. I do wonder if he'll produce as well for another team as he has with Toronto over the last few years. I think it's a great fit for him with Toronto. I'll be interested to see how things would go in Edmonton. But now it's a matter of Edmonton now would have to approach Toronto and deal for his rights. Which, according to Kyle Dubas, there hasn't been an offer made by Edmonton yet. So we'll see. But if Hyman signs an 8-year deal, I do wonder about how that contract will age. But for Edmonton, they're looking to win now, right? The other news coming out of Edmonton, too, and this, again, is as the rumor mill goes into overdrive, is that they want to sign Barrie to a 4-year deal, and he wants 3. And so they're haggling over that. But Barrie is having contract negotiations. The Mike Smith contract is official. It is a 2-year deal at $4.4 million in total. So $2.2 million cap hit for Mike Smith. It's $1.9 million the first year, $2.5 million in the second year. So Smith will round out his career in Edmonton. You'd have to think he'd be 41 when that contract's done. So the only surprise being that it's multiple years for Smith, but there you go. Michael Rasmussen has signed a 3-year extension with the Detroit Red Wings. It carries a cap hit, reportedly, of $1.46 million. Rasmussen is one of those players that low-key might be growing in terms of his production over the next couple of years. That could end up looking like a really good contract for Detroit, which is not a surprise since it's Yzerman pulling the strings right now, right? So, yeah, Detroit, Rasmussen will be sticking around there for a few years. Vegas. So the reason I'm wearing the Vegas gear is this is interesting. Reportedly, they're working on a contract with Alec Martinez. He has a contract offer, this is according to Pierre Lebrun, and he's going back and forth with them on it. So we'll see whether or not Vegas can keep Martinez. There's only 2 ways that works. One, Martinez is going to have to take below market value because of Vegas's cap problems, or they're going to have to trade some money out. So for Vegas, it's going to be interesting to see. If they can keep Martinez, that's key. Martinez is a shot blocking machine. He is very important on that blue line. Yes, he's in his mid-30s, but he's still a very effective defenseman. If he goes to market, there'll be a lineup of teams looking to acquire his services, which could drive that asking price up. It may be that he wants a chance to win. He looks at Vegas as his best opportunity and wants to stick around there. So we'll see if he signs him for how much. Matt Calvert has announced his retirement this day. He didn't play much this year due to injury, so injuries will often force a guy to kind of say, I'm going to look at my options here, and I'm going to spend more time with my family. So, your wife and kids definitely see you more when you've retired. Calvert, 566 games played, 95 goals, 108 assists, 203 points in his career. Solid career, solid middle six guy. I say middle six because I think third line is where he spent a lot of his career. And just a very useful player. Very popular. And I know fans loved him. I always enjoyed watching him play. So all the best to Matt Calvert. And there were NHL games, the EA Sports NHL games, where Calvert was a fantastic player for teams I put together. News out of Ottawa today. There are numerous players not getting qualifying offers. A lot of them aren't really a surprise. The biggest notable is Michael Amadio. Not getting a qualifying offer. So for new fans to the game, here's how it works. You have your unrestricted free agents, right? Which are all 32 teams have an option of pursuing those unrestricted free agents. Restricted free agents are your younger players with less experience, who, if a team makes them an offer, fine, but you have a chance to match that offer. You can get, compensated if that team takes that player and you don't want to sign that offer. But if a player who's supposed to be a restricted free agent, like Michael Amadio, doesn't get his qualifying offer, the bare minimum contract offered to him in order to keep his rights, then he becomes an unrestricted free agent on the 28th. So players that are not given qualifying offers, they're now unrestricted free agents. And Ron Francis talked about this yesterday. They were talking to him about not getting side deals done and all this, and he said, look, there's going to be guys who are restricted free agents who aren't going to get qualifying offers because of the cap problems around the league. We're going to be looking at unrestricted free agents via that route, as well as other unrestricted free agents, and making trades. Tons of cap space. So while everybody's I thought the funniest thing I saw last night was a couple of comments. Seattle's got the worst roster I've ever seen. Well, it's a good thing that they're not starting today, isn't it? Man, like I said last night during the live stream, if I started season previews right now, and if anybody's an expiring contract just left them off the depth chart, almost every team I'd be like, well, this team isn't going to compete. This team isn't very good at all. Look at all these missing. And people will be like, you can't do this. We haven't gone through free agency or the draft yet. Nobody's made trades yet. How can you do season previews? By that same count, how in the world can we complain about what Seattle's done when they're not done yet? And again, like I said before the expansion, I wouldn't touch any bad contracts. To me, the Tarasenko contract's a bad contract. The JVR contract is not a good contract. There's a lot of bad contracts. So passing on players for their name recognition, I get, because a lot of them have contracts that are just too high. And there were a couple of reactions I saw like, I can't believe they didn't take Holtby. That's a mistake. Not really. I think they made the right decision picking up Cole Lind and keeping that about $4 million in cap space they kept by not taking Holtby. So it is still early. We'll see what deals get made by Seattle today. There are rumors there's going to be a few. And I will be here to report on them when they happen. And I'll upload this, and by the time this goes live, there'll probably be some trades. That's just how it works. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It was a great live stream last night. Looking forward to doing it again tomorrow night for the NHL entry draft at the same time as we started the live stream last night. And then Saturday morning, we have a live stream as well for rounds 2 through 7. And I won't be doing those live streams from in here. I'll be doing those live streams from upstairs where there is no hockey on the walls or anywhere. So don't be alarmed when you tune into that live stream and you don't see a bunch of hockey in the background and be like, I don't think I'm in the right place. But you will. You're fine. It's fine. It's great. And yeah, so looking forward to that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts regarding these issues on this board here, how you feel about the contract signings that have already been announced, which ones you're surprised haven't been announced yet. Taylor Hall is coming. It's just a matter of when. Let me know. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. There's over 207,000 people. 207,000. That's insane. All right. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.